man. So, you know, we have all of these resources out there, and this Dominica Academy of Arts and Sciences, which I mentioned before, we are making this special effort to find all these people and to make them available. One of the things that we've had here as a problem, when we want to find someone who has a certain professional skill or special expertise, in the past, and even up to the present time, the tendency has been to call the folks in Brussels or Washington and ask them to send us down a consultant who usually is, I don't have anything against white people. What I'm saying is these people usually come down here. They are not familiar with the culture. Certainly they don't know a hell of a lot about the language. And they come and they write you a report. And when they finish the report, they go away. And then, of course, we are confronted with the problem. How are we going to implement whatever it is that was in that report? I think we have to change that trend. And we have to depend more and more on our people. We need to have a united effort between those who are still resident here and those of us who are overseas. I think if we are able to work that partnership properly, it will take us a great deal further than we are right now. Now, having said that, I don't want to give the impression that in any way the quality of life in Dominica is terrible. It is not. I think we're having a good life. I think the majority of our people are healthy. We have a very high level of education in the country. But like everything else in life, you cannot stop, because progress requires that you move from where you are to the next place. And for you to make progress, you have to make effort. To make effort, you need to have the proper human resource to do it. We can't just sit down and don't do anything. We've got to do things. So we have to develop our agriculture, we have to develop our tourism, we have to develop our services, education, health, and all these kinds of things. And for you to be able to do these things, you need people who are qualified or who have a special skill. Now, let me be very careful here, because often people think that when we are setting up these institutions, we are looking at people with degree. We are not interested in people in degree. We are interested in people who have skill, whether it is in construction or it's in fishing or whatever it is. Anybody who has a skill and some expertise and experience and who can bring that to bear on what we are doing to improve it is what we're interested in. Now, just today, we had an interesting situation, because since yesterday, we've been running around the place doing various things. And Dr. Sam Christian, who is not here with us, Casey and himself went to the hospital this morning to present a mammogram machine for women, you know, testing for cancer and so on. In the process of doing that, there was some operation going to take place on a young woman who was in the hospital. And just because Dr. Christian was there and he is himself a surgeon, he immediately got involved in the operational process. You see, so you just never know how these things are going to happen when you have the right people at the right place at the right time. And what we're trying to do is to increase the probability for that kind of thing to happen by bringing our people on stream to help in whatever activities are taking place in the country for its national development. Let me just say lastly that we have to understand the kind of world that we're in. Someone made reference earlier on to our position in the world. We are now in what is called a globalized economy, which means that we are in competition with many other countries that are trying often to produce the same things that we are producing. We have problems with our banana industry precisely because of that reason. Well, it's not the only reason. There are other things that we could have done to improve. We didn't do it. Or if we started doing it, we started doing it too late. But the fact of the matter is that we are in a globalized economy, and people are struggling everywhere to find a position and to improve their lives. It doesn't matter where they are. Now, in that race, we don't want to be left behind. And we certainly don't want to be stagnant. So we have to do something. And the thing that it seems to me that is key for us to do, especially now that we're in the environment of a school, the key thing is for every student to get the best education that is possible. Because this is where the action is nowadays. The action is in the intellect. It's in the capacity of people to think, to create new ideas, to invent things and so on. That is how countries are going to progress nowadays. They're not going to progress purely because you know you have brute physical force and so on. You really have to use your brain at all levels. The politicians must be creative. We cannot do the same things we were doing before. We cannot carry on business as usual. We must find new ideas, we must find new enterprises, and we must be able to move those things forward because we have the human resource on the ground to move the country in this global economy. So I'll leave that with you. At the end of the session, I guess, we will have an opportunity of having a little bit of friendly dialogue. You have questions, you have particular needs that you want to express. I would certainly encourage you that this is an opportunity to let us know. We will take that message to our comrades overseas.
Me say ça va ou ça? I just wanted to say that even if it has been quite some years and quite some time, that I still very, very happy. We're very, very moved. We're very, very, very warm inside to know that we're here in our country and that we can sit and talk with our people about something positive. If we as a people accentuate the positive and leave back the negative, we can succeed, can we not? Yes. Principal Moise, Parliamentary Secretary Baron, and my other hero, Dr. He must be eating a lot of fish. A round of applause. That Dominicans are great people. Repeat after me. Dominicans are great people. Dominica is a great island. Long live the Commonwealth of Dominica. Thank you. And the reason that I say this, is I look around. I look around, and I really respectfully want to say this. Parliamentary Secretary Barron, the camera is on, it's okay, don't be ashamed. Stand up, please. Look at this gentleman. Let me ask him a question. Parliament Barron, you went to school here?
Yes, not in this building.
Ah, I see. There's no concrete building like this here.
No.
Ah, so progress has been made then?
A lot.
You have shoes on your feet right now? Okay. Okay. Let me ask you a question. C'est pas un rime, how you say? It's not laugh I want you to laugh, you know. I want you to understand. The patois sometimes beats me, you see. But when you went to school here, how many students came to school without shoes? Without?
Almost all the children at school.
Is he talking the truth? Yes. Listen to me, class. Listen to me, class. It's okay, we all had to go to school. Raise your hands, those of you who know people who went to school here in Petite, Savanne without shoes. Please raise your hand. Can you get this camera? Can you get this? Can you get this? Okay. I want, this is very important because what I want to illustrate by this fact is that we're talking about a period that is no more in excess than 30 years. And maybe not even that long, maybe within 10 years or 20 years. And the reason, in fact, that we have had progress is that there were people, while others were asleep, while others were passing blame, while others were complaining, while others were criticizing, there were people who were doing work. Isn't that right? Yes. Right now, we are in a classroom, not with students, but with parents, who work hard day in and day out to put clothes on your children's backs, to put shoes on your feet, and to send them to school. And so those of us who are Dominicans and who have had a foundation laid that we can go to another person's country and work hard and work long hours to make that country rich, can't we do some of it for ourselves here in Dominica? Every dog has to stand on its own, or they say own back door. Every dog has to sit by its own back door, and every man or woman has to stand on his or her own too. And all I'm saying is we need to understand that self-reliance means self-respect, it means self-love. That nobody, no investor, no foreign aid donor, no country, no United Nations, no foreign aid organization is going to do for us what we are not going to do for our. And it's for that reason then that when Rosie Douglas died suddenly, 8 months We could have said, "Eh, labote magwesa, gade mi se more." And we could have wept and gone to funeral and gone home and gone to sleep. Or we could have said, well, why can't we then open another door when one door closes? You see, sometimes we see the clouds, and they're dark and foreboding clouds. But we don't realize that within every cloud is a silver. When the clouds come and the trees are dry and the bailiff is looking a little shaky and so on because there's a drought on, the clouds bring rain. And with the rain, the drought is broken. So when that death took place, there were people overseas and people here who said, well, maybe we can find a meaning in this death. Maybe there's a message in this death. And what it means is that maybe as a people we are too divided. Maybe as a people we are too disunited. Maybe as a people, if we work together, we can do better. Brothers and sisters, there's no benefit and there's no riches in hatred. There are no riches in division. But look at us today. I want to tell you a story, and it's like a mystery. A few years ago, my brother, who's an engineer in New York, he went to the grammar school around the time of Teacher Geese and his guys, said to me that he met a construction company owner, very dynamic guy, a Dominican guy. You need to call the guy. He's a very good guy. He's a strong guy. I said, okay, I'll get with that. I'd written a book about Dominica, and he sold the book to the guy, and I got the money. I never called the guy. Years passed, Rosie Douglas died, and we sent a team